So if you're like me and you're already scheming and plotting about 2023 and how it's going to be different and better for you and your guitar playing, I have one specific suggestion to make. Learn some 8-bar blues. There are a lot of good reasons to learn 8-bar blues tunes, and you may already know some, but in this lesson, I'm going to give you 3 really good reasons to learn them and suggest 5 8-bar blues tunes you can get started with in the coming year. Okay, so the first reason it's good to learn some 8-bar blues tunes is because they are not 12-bar blues tunes, right? I mean, you know the default when you sit down to play on your own, just to noodle and do some playing for fun, or even to sit down and play with someone else. The default is, well, let's play some blues, meaning let's play some 12-bar blues. These 5 tunes I'm going to recommend are all 8-bar blues. They're going to feel different. They're going to immediately add some variety and give you something different to pull out when you're ready to just do some playing. Second reason is because all of these tunes have really distinctive melodies. And that means that, first of all, you can learn a lot about blues phrasing and blues soloing from looking at the melodies to tunes like this. And the other thing about it is that a lot of times when you're just playing blues, it can sound like noodling and just like licks, but when you play one of these 8-bar blues tunes I'm going to recommend, they have distinctive melodies. It sounds like you're playing a song. And finally, all 5 of these tunes are really well known, which means, first of all, they're great to pull out if you're going to be jamming with somebody else. Even if you're just sitting down with one other musician, these are tunes that a lot of people know, and if they don't necessarily know how to play them, they're easy to learn and quick to recognize because everybody's heard them so much. These tunes are also really prevalent in a lot of different styles. So not just blues, but also early jazz or swing or bluegrass or western swing. Bluegrass, did I say bluegrass? I can't remember. Bluegrass. Not all of them, but within these 5 tunes, there's something that will migrate to another genre really easily. And finally, because these tunes are so prevalent, there are lots of versions of them out there, which means it's easy to find versions to learn from, and you don't have to feel beholden to learning any one particular version of the tune. You can triangulate between a bunch of different versions. Well, I guess triangulate would be 3 versions, but you can listen to a bunch of different versions and pick out the things you like best from each one. And because there's not one definitive version of the song, you don't have to feel the pressure to learn someone else's version note for note. You can learn the tune, the chord progression, and the words, and start coming up with your own version a lot quicker. Okay, 8-bar blues number 5 is St. James Infirmary. So St. James Infirmary, you can find recorded versions going all the way back to the beginning of recording music in the 20th century. So you can find early jazz versions, you can find swing versions, you can find acoustic blues versions, whatever you're looking for. And you can also keep that chord progression as simple as you want or dress it up as much as you want to. There's just a lot of possibilities. And you can also keep it really simple. So, St. James Infirmary. Next, song number 4, Baby Please Don't Go. This is one of the great foundational blues tunes of all time. You can find steady bass versions from people like Lightnin' Hopkins and all the way up through like just big blues rock versions of it. It's a classic melody. You want to learn about blues phrasing, you can't do any better than this melody. You could also play it, just as a 1-chord vamp. So as simple as you want to as elaborate as you want. Song number 3, Nobody's Fault But Mine. Another great foundational melody. I believe the earliest version is the Blind Willie Johnson slide guitar version, but tons of people have done this tune as well. It works great with the steady bass. You can also go from very simple 1, 4, and 5 to more dressed up kinds of chord progressions, descending bass lines. So it's got a lot of flexibility as well. Really, the simpler the tune, the more you can go and do with it. But it sounds great just played with the basic chords as well. So, and this one will also migrate, from blues. You can do jazzier things with it. It's basically a gospel tune, so, it can migrate in that direction as well. Song number 2, You Got to Move. This is really 3 songs in one, at least, because this is also basically the Mississippi Sheiks sitting on top of the world. And as that tune, that goes all the way back to, 20s jug band music, and then moves up and becomes, there's up-tempo, and enters the bluegrass repertoire through an up-tempo Bill Monroe version. And then, so that means that, bluegrass, country, people like that who play that kind of music will know this tune. It also is basically, give or take a bar, it's Robert Johnson's Come On In My Kitchen, and it doesn't really get any more iconic than that. So again, lends itself well to the slide. It works really nicely in A or in E, which is really nice. So you can even do it with a shuffle bass. So a lot of places you can go with that one as well. And finally, song number 1 on the list, Trouble in Mind. Now this one I put first just because it's a relatively simple tune, but it's got a really memorable melody. It's really fun to play in both E and in A. And you can hear versions, Western swing versions, country versions, electric blues, acoustic blues, all kinds of versions. All right, so 5 8-bar blues tunes to start thinking about for next year. I am sure that I missed somebody's favorite. So if there's an 8-bar blues you feel got woefully overlooked, please leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. And if you've got any other comments or questions, you can leave those down below as well. These are all songs that I teach in my Fingerstyle 5 membership, where we do ongoing organized lessons to help you get better at building your blues repertoire and learning to improvise. If you'd like to learn more about that, just go to fretboardconfidential.com at the link below or the link on screen. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.